Hello everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions, and welcome to Conahey Rail. And so today's video, blog or vlog, however you want to say it, I posted some pictures of my Conahey Rail O-gauge layout, how it looks today on Facebook. And there was a huge, wonderful response in quite a few of those groups. At the time of this video, in one group it got 80 likes, and I was so blown away by the nice comments I got about it. So I figured I should do a Conahey Rail 6-year celebration, Labor Day celebration video. So Conahey Rail actually started construction Labor Day of 2015. So we'll talk about that and the progression of it and what it looks like today, and we'll do a little video tour because I'm being hit by questions, and so this video hopefully will answer a lot of people's questions that they have about this layout, and we'll go from there. So first, just like the last video, we're going to turn back the time to when I first started this. So let me introduce Cher. She's going to sing Turn Back Time. No, she's not. I'm just kidding. So don't I wish. So anyway, so let's turn back time. In 2015, I decided to get back into O-gauge again. I wasn't quite sure at that point in time what I was doing or where I was heading or what I wanted to do. I just had memories of fun running O-gauge and O27 trains at that time. And one of the sets I wanted so bad was this Conrail Limited set made in 1987. This was a very expensive set. It was like, if I remember right, it was like $425 back at that point in time. And that was very expensive for 1987. So unfortunately at that point in time I had to walk away. But I had that memory of seeing that set in a store, and I really wanted it. So in 2015, when I finally decided to go ahead and get back into O-gauge again, this was the very first set that I bought since 1990. So when I bought the Lionel 1987 Conrail Limited set in 2015, it was early 2015. I actually put it in the spare bedroom of my house and actually ran it on the carpet using a tubular track, and so I figured that's what I was doing at that time. So it was Sunday before Labor Day of 2015. I went to bed that night and had this dream, this vision of an O-gauge layout just running. And I woke up, remember waking up the next day on Labor Day and drawing things up, writing things down of what I wanted. I actually started the layout, and here you can see the L-shaped layout that I originally started with, which was 8 foot in the longest section and 4 foot on the other end. And using hand-bent guardrails curves, which at the time the dealer told me it was flex track, but I ended up finding out later it was actually rigid track, and I figured out how to tell the difference after that point in time. It didn't take long after that before I started adding on. I wanted more room to run my trains, and as you can see, I added on to the L, now making this U-shaped type of platform, I guess you could call it, still keeping the guardrails track that I hand bent, and you can see it's not a very good job, and I found out why later on, because it was actually, they sold me rigid track when it was supposed to have been flex track, and I don't know if it was an honest mistake or not, but that's why it wasn't bending correctly, but I made it work. So in 2016, I added onto the other section of the layout up against the wall. I'm not into the other room as of yet, but at this point I was still using that sticking with the hand bent curves of Gargraves, which I wasn't happy with. So later on in 2016, I actually changed over to pre bent 054 at this point in time on the layout. And I was just a lot more happier with the Gargraves pre bent track than I was with the hand bending my own. It was in 2017 is when I finally expanded into the other room. I decided to go ahead and continue the layout and growing the layout because I wanted to run longer trains at this point in time. So I was making up my mind what I really wanted to do, and so here it is. It's pretty crude, and that's about as far as I got in 2017 with a very crude platform. I was planning everything out how I wanted it to be and how I was going to make it run, and still in the planning stages. And the stuff today is still just about in the same location as when I originally planned it. And here you can see I really got into scenery. I got into the scenery end of it, ballasting the 054, and you can see the sharp turns. And at this point in time, I'm a single mainline layout, so I'm running trains on this 054 layout, and it's kind of funny to look at now. So here we are, 2018. I'm getting more and more scenery in. Getting a lot more happier with what's going on. Still single mainline at this point in time. So just getting into the scenery end of it and putting things in on this part of the layout. And then in the other room, I'm still working on that end of it. As you can see, I went ahead and extended it and started, got rid of that crude platform and started putting in, better bench work and getting things to where I wanted it. And you can see at this point in time, I'm still not in the next room yet. My trains today actually go through three different rooms. And finally, what threw the monkey wrench in the works, so to say, were these Lionel 86-foot high cube box cars, which they said would run on 054. When I ran the train in 2018, it derailed in every 054 curve you can imagine. So, to my disappointment, this is what forced me to go 072 the following year in 2019 to do a major makeover on Conahey Rail. So, in 2019, after the disaster of trying to run Lionel 86-foot box cars on 054 curves, I decided that I was going to make a dual main line and the outside loop would be 072, and that would help me make this run, which it did. And I had to create a lift out bridge in order to do this, to get across, because there was no way 072 is going to fit in horseshoe curve. So that was one of my engineering designs to get around, trying to get around that curve with 072. I just went straight across with that lift out bridge that you see there. And I will demonstrate the lift out bridge a little bit later in this video of how I designed it and how it works. But the one thing I like about it is there's no wiring. You can just lift it right out, and I'll show you how I did all that. And then here's the train crossing the lift out bridge for the first time in 2019. So I'm pretty happy that I was able to finally get a successful run with the 86-foot high cube box cars. Trust me, they maybe one or two will make it on 072 or 054, but 072 is the way to go. And in order to fit 072 on this end of the layout in the next room, there wasn't enough room, so I had no choice but to go into my workshop to get 072 on the other end of the layout. So I decided to incorporate some of my workshop, and here I am. Finally enjoying running my 86-foot high cube boxcar train, my big blue Lionel set. So it took a year before I was actually, after purchasing it, before I was actually finally able to enjoy it. In 2020 came the showstopper where the shows were shut down and I was bored, and So I decided to give Conahey Rail High Rail layout a makeover, painting it in the Conrail blue with the white trim, and I really liked how it came out. And I also did the next room over, the layout in the next room, painting that Conrail blue as well. Also painting my display shelves in the matching colors of the manufacturer. As you can see here is Atlas O, and I painted the shelves Atlas O blue. In 2021, I decided to redesign the grain yard facility a little bit because I really got into doing switching operations, and viewers were enjoying the switching videos I was doing. So I wanted to redesign the yard to do better operations. And then here I decided to go 080 on the outside loop, and then I was able to do it in most of the areas, and then change most of the inside loop to 072 with the exception of the horseshoe. And at this point in time, I'm going to keep it this way for right now, and we'll see what happens later as things progress, and you never know what happens in the future. So once again, this is what the Conahey Rail looks like Labor Day 2021. And so there's questions, and we'll do a little bit more of a video tour here. But first, let's do an overview. So this is just one section of Conahey Rail O gauge. A lot of people don't realize there's actually another section to this. But for those who are wondering, from this corner all the way to that wall, this is 12 foot wide. So it's 12 foot wide at its widest point. And what a lot of people don't realize is when you come around here, it actually goes through 2 tunnels there into another room. So for the longest time, people were actually thinking there were 2 separate O gauge high rail layouts when it was really one, because once it gets through into the other room, and we'll go in here, it drastically, the scenery drastically changes, and you can see the tunnels here. And it continues on, even more so, into another room. So it goes, the layout actually travels through 3 different rooms. The back room I never put on video because that's actually my workshop. Maybe one day I'll put a little bit of scenery back there, but who knows. So one of the questions I got, sorry about that, is how long is this layout? So it is from that wall, travels through this wall into another room, and travels through another wall into another room. So the layout is actually 35 foot long. And let's swing around here if I'm not, hopefully not doing this too fast. And once again, we're at 12 foot at the widest point. Another question I get hit with all the time is, what am I using for roadways? And what I'm using is black poster board, which is available in the Walmart Arts and Crafts section. I just merely cut it to size. And then there's a guy on eBay who actually sells all the street decaling, the lines, and a stop, a head, all the proper stuff you need to make the roadways. So yeah, I like quick and easy. I don't claim to be a model craftsman by any means. Obviously, because I built all this in only 5 years, so I like to. I want to enjoy my railroad. I don't want to be, 80 years old and then dead before I can actually enjoy it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the model craftsman stuff, but for me, it just takes too much time. I want to be up and running. So that's why I do things that are quick and just look good. I'm not trying to become the next railroad in some magazine. So my railroad is for me to come down and enjoy, and it looks, I'm happy with the way it looks. Alright, so let's take a little tour here. And as you can see, I'm a big Conrail fan, so the layout is painted in the Conrail blue and white colors. And so go along here. So the track that I'm using, another question I get, is all Gargraves track. I love Gargraves track. It's easy to work with. Some people don't like it because it's hollow. I find it's easier to work with, and I don't know. I just enjoy it better. It's much more affordable. And up until, you know, the showstopper, you know, it was plentiful, but now everybody's building a layout, and a lot of places are shut down, so it's not so available now, but beforehand, you can find it anywhere. The signals are all MTH. The houses that are in my rural area of Conahey Rail are all Lionel suburban houses. And one of the things that I enjoy doing is creating movie scenes. It's one of the things I really got into, but a lot of people didn't get it, especially ones who visited here. So what I did is I made a card to go with the scene. So here you can see Hollywood movie Bullet, Steve McQueen chase scene, 1968. So we have the 68 Charger, and we got the 68 Mustang that creates that scene. And we'll do one more. And here is the Hollywood movie Gone in 60 Seconds, the remake Eleanor from the year 2000. So there you go. And there's going to be others that you're going to recognize. That's iconic. So that's one of the things I really liked doing on my layout, is creating those hot, because I'm really into the Hollywood car movies. I really am. I love them. So moving along, you can see that this is the suburban area of Conahey Rail, and I'm going to make this a quick tour. I'm not going to do something really too in depth. I'm just going to pan through here. So here is the suburban area of Conahey Rail. Once again, these are all lined out suburban houses. There's not much detail to them, but you can pretty much dress them up, put additional LED lights in, which I haven't done yet, but one of these days I'll get around to it. Then we get a little bit more industrialized. We got the church going on here. We got the model train shop, the hardware store, A&W root beer stand, the bank, that's an MTH bank. The A&W root beer stand is MTH. I put a lot of my own names on some of this stuff, so that Howe Hardware is an actual hardware, MTH hardware store that I renamed. The model train shop is MTH, and the church is MTH. The flag, the lighted flag, is Lionel. The clock is MTH. Those two light posts out front, Lionel. The gas station is MTH. That's the automated one. The garage next to it is a little kit that I built. Then we have the auto parts store, which is MTH, and a neon sign on top, which is a Miller Engineering sign. Then we keep going down. We have Regina's soft ice cream. That's MTH. MTH freight station there. I renamed this building. It's a pet. It's an MTH building that I renamed to Dare's Feed and Pet. It was an actual building in my town. Another MTH warehouse. I've also renamed to Cross Warehouse. This was an actual trucking company that was in my town at one time, and it features the Christine scene in front of it. Huey's 5 and Dine, that's the Lionel building. Then we have Angie's Diner, I renamed that, that's Lionel. One of the very few buildings that Lionel actually put detailed interior in. It's actually a cool piece. It does light up. The MTH Power Station. And then we have the UPS scene with the MTH Middletown Station. And for those who are wondering, most of my vehicles are from a company called Greenlight. They're really cheap. I really don't like spending over $20 for a die-cast car. I mean, I really don't. You see cars on there for like $40 and $30. I mean, that's kind of pricey to me. So Greenlight makes them very inexpensive. You can usually buy them for about $17 to $20 as long as you get them when they first come out. If you don't, wait for the remakes, because then people start gouging you. The trucks, I try to stick with 150 scale. The cars are 143 scale, even though the trains are 148. You're not going to find 148 cars and trucks out there. And if you do, they're expensive. So that's why I stick with 150 scale trucks, 143 scale cars. I think it looks a little bit better with that kind of a mixture. Alright, in the back and the siding we have Strasbourg Tower. That's MTH, I had to have that. And then we have an MTH Greenery back here that I renamed to Cargill. Somebody actually gave me that. That's I believe it's a Lionel built station watchtower. I'll just put it back as an abandoned tower with a Jeep next to it. A lot of people ask about my drop-in bridge. They're very interested in this. What's unique about my drop-in bridge, there's no wiring that goes to the bridge itself. So it makes it easy to pull out and not have to fiddle with plugs and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you that. So there's a couple ways I can deal with this, how I designed this. So I can literally take this bridge, pull it up, swing it around, and be done with it. Another plus about how I designed this bridge is I can totally remove it. And once again, there's no wiring to this. You can see there's nothing there other than my jumpers that I put in here. And yes, this is powered, but yet I can pull it out without having to fiddle with plugs and stuff. So let's take a look real quick. I have done a video on how I did this. So what I've done is I've installed brass cabinet ball latches, they call them, and that's what powers the bridge. So I have one side that's negative and one side that's positive. So one side of the bridge powers the outside rail, and the other side of the bridge powers the middle rail. And what happens is on the bridge, if you look real close here, the male part of the cabinet latch, which I have a wire that comes off and actually goes to the up inside here, but the wire comes off of it, as you can see here. And so what happens is when this sits down in here inside of this cabinet ball latch here, it contacts this, and that's what sends power to the bridge rather than having a plug. So I can pull this out at any time I want. So that's how I did this. And as I said, on the other end of this bridge, this end is, I believe, powered, and the other end is the outside rail. One of my favorite parts of the railroad, which I have recently completed, I'm sure you've seen in the last couple of videos, is I have dual mainline crossings here. So I have the crossing signals in the proper spots that they should be in, and when a train crosses, it activates all four as it should, whether the train's crossing the outside rail or the inside rail. So I just love this part of it. In 2020, I created this what I call the power station. All my transformers, my constant 12-volt supply source is here. My Lionel legacy units here. I have volt gauges installed. I'm also planning on installing amp gauges to the track as well. So this is my power station. Everything power-wise is all located here. This part of the room, or in this room, everything is a kit. Nothing is pre-made in this room. So we have an Ameritown post office kit that I built. There is an Ameritown factory building that I converted into an ice house. Then over here we have the this is a Corber kit, Corber silo kit. Mr. Muffins bought Corber. He sells these kits and makes and manufactures them. Mr. Muffin also puts together the Ameritown kits as well. Next to that is a Lionel grain elevator kit. That's a Menards bridge. That's not a kit. I mean, that was pre-made. But building-wise, everything in here is kits. Then we have, I believe that Wheeler's Dealers. That's what it is. That's an Atlas O Wheeler's Dealer kit that I renamed Hodges Dodges. Next to it are two Ameritown firehouse kits that are spliced together. And then over there, I forget what kit those are. The barn and the farmhouse. And then pretty much everything else is just, once again, you know, putting streets in, parking lots, and so forth and so on. I had a lot of people interested in this combine. All I can say is I found it on eBay, and it was the only one that I've found and seen in a long time. And I bought it pretty reasonable, actually. And so, yeah. I still had the field to finish, but one of these days I'll get there. The tunnel portals I also made on my own, thanks to a method that Harry Henning of Henning's Trains showed me. I used his method of building the tunnel portals because I wanted homemade, homemade ones, or self-made ones for this end of it, and he sent me some information on how to do it, and I think they came out pretty nice. So I'm pretty happy with that. So the tunnel portals, I can probably say I made them on my own. So I hope you enjoyed the short tour. I have done more of an in-depth one a couple years ago. Maybe I need to make another one. I don't know. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the 6-year celebration of Conahey Rail, high rail O-gauge layout that was initially started Labor Day of 2015. And once again, thank you so much for being a subscriber, and thanks so much for your support. I couldn't have done all this without going to train shows and seeing what people are doing, getting involved with clubs, tell me how to do different things, and people like you, the viewers, who were supporting me the whole way I was doing this. And this was not easy for me to do. This was a lot of work for those of you who are just beginning out. I mean, there's other channels that started and rebuilt and basically put in another layout. So I'll never do that. This is it for me. I'm too old to be tearing this down and starting over. What I got is what I got until I'll move on into another world, I guess. But this is it for me. So I mean, I'll make improvements here and there, but I'm not tearing this completely out and starting over again like the younger generation's doing. That's not for me. This is hard enough to do. So, at any rate, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next video around. Goodbye.